I wasn't ready to say anything before, but I'm ready now.
Seline, everything's okay. It's okay.
Faltering stage performances, disappearance from the public eye, and frail bodies. If you spot these signs in your favorite Hollywood celebrity, chances are that they are living the last moments of their lives.
Are you depressed? This is what they do to a lot of people that have Lyme disease. They don't have an answer for them, so they tell them.
The showbiz industry always wants to sparkle, but there are moments when its best stars lose the grip over their craft and their lives.
Dementia is hard. It's hard on the person diagnosed. It's also hard on the family.
Even the heftiest bank accounts can't save them as they fight incurable diseases. Join us as we reveal which celebrities are living the last of their days. Number 8. Bruce Willis. We all know that back in 2022, the action star, Bruce Willis, said a final goodbye to his stellar movie career. With over 100 movies under his belt, it was odd for the legendary actor to bid his farewell, especially when he was lined up for several projects. The Die Hard star had indeed made some terrible choices with the final few movies of his career. Transitioning from billion-dollar franchises such as Die Hard, Bruce had opted to work in low-budget independent thrillers and science fiction films. This is why, even though the actor has been continuously working since 2020, his visibility in the cinemas was quite low. However, sources close to the actor cited his choice as a safe harbor for his near-retired career. You see, Hollywood isn't always keen to hire old action heroes, so for Bruce, the most feasible money-making venture was independent films which paid exceptionally well. His most direct-to-video movies were both a commercial and a critical flop. Yet the actor reportedly made $2 million for 2 days' work or 15 minutes of screen time per film. Not bad, right? The problem for most film critics wasn't just the bad production or awful writing of the movies Willis was performing in. It was actually his faltering acting skills that most critics had raised eyebrows at. Since Willis was the hero of the promotional material of the 8 of his movies released in 2021, all eyes were on him. However, to everyone's surprise, his performances hardly even scratched the surface. Critically, his skills were dubbed as embarrassing, so much so that the Golden Raspberry Awards, an annual award for the year's worst movies and performances, created a special category for the actor known as the worst Bruce Willis performance in a 2021 movie. It doesn't take a genius to be the recipient of the very dedicated award. As you can probably guess, Willis's reputation was on the line. There was a time when the action figure was garnering critical success after his performances in movies like Die Hard and Pulp Fiction. So, what changed? No one knew that Willis's faltering acting skills were a result of a very serious sickness, aphasia, a language disorder that affects the areas of our brain that control reading, writing, speaking, and comprehension. As it stands today, Willis is gradually losing grip over his brain, and we might hear the news of his tragic passing eventually. Even when he was working on his low-budget films, the personnel on the set complained about Willis misunderstanding instructions and the movie lines. Most of the time, he appeared confused on the set, didn't know what movie he was working for, and even had to be fed lines through an earpiece. He would sit for hours with them movie scripts, failing to learn any of his lines. Sometimes he would speak to the movie staff as if he was living in the past. It was Willis's family who had connected the dots. The actor was gearing up to shoot the movie Cult of Death when the screenwriters were instructed to cut Willis's lines and reduce his role. Eventually, the director, Mike Burns, had to complete the actor's scene in a single day of filming. That was the last time that Bruce Willis appeared in front of the camera. Soon enough, in spring 2022, the actor's family announced that he had been diagnosed with aphasia and he would be retiring from acting altogether. It was also confirmed that Willis had lost all control over his cognitive capabilities and was living under the constant supervision of his wife and family. Yet the worst was to come. In 2023, the actor's family announced that his condition had progressed into dementia. Since we announced Bruce's diagnosis of aphasia in spring 2022, Bruce's condition has progressed, and we now have a more specific diagnosis: frontotemporal dementia, his family said in a statement on social media. While the die-hard hero has all the means in the world to get the best treatments, frontotemporal dementia has no cure. The family further added that if Willis could, he would use his voice to raise awareness about the disease that remains under-researched in the realm of medical science. Prior to the heartbreaking diagnosis, Emma Hemming Willis, the actor's wife, and his 5 children struggled to find the cause of the devastating cognitive decline. The doctors had worked with many plausible theories, but it was later confirmed that Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia. For the Willis family, learning the diagnosis was very difficult, but it also brought a lot of comfort. Finally, they could find the right treatments for the actor. Number 7. Charlie Sheen. There's a reason why you won't hear from Charlie Sheen today. The actor's career, after 2.5 Men, has been very rocky. The show's turbulent end revealed the dark side of Sheen, who had reportedly created antagonizing conditions on the set leading to his departure. His fallout with Chuck Lorre created a public meltdown, and even to this day, his co-star Jon Cryer refuses to work with him. Amid such controversies, Sheen was also reeling from a personal loss. After his devastating divorce from his wife Denise Richards, the actor had become quite reckless about his partners. The result of the wild frenzy was a heartbreaking diagnosis that changed Sheen's life. In 2015, while appearing on The Today Show, he revealed that he had contracted HIV around 3 years ago. Since then, he has worked hard to keep his diagnosis to himself. However, the mounting speculation about his disappearance from showbiz, as well as his fluctuating physical appearance, forced him to reveal his health condition. The admission was emotionally hard, but Sheen believed that his public announcement would bring attention to people living with HIV. As there are many myths about the disease, largely implicating queer folks, the actor wanted to raise awareness about the treatments and give hope to many shunned by their own families. This led him to be open about his status on The Today Show. The actor revealed that he first started to experience crushing headaches that didn't go away. He believed that he was suffering from some kind of brain tumor that would eventually take his life. When he first learned of his diagnosis, his first priority was to inform his current and former partners, and second, to keep his status a secret from the public. Allegedly, Sheen paid $10 million to his ex-girlfriends to stop them from going public with the news. Yet he also became a target of massive shakedowns. About this bitter experience, he said, "What people forget is that that's money they're taking from my children. I trusted them, and they were deep in my inner circle, and I thought they could be helpful. My trust turned to their treason." He also talked about the pang of sadness he felt upon hearing his diagnosis. According to the actor, he immediately wanted to eat a bullet, but his mother was there with him, and he wanted to appear stronger for her sake. Eventually, Sheen disclosed his sickness to his eldest child, Sam. He had expected her to fall apart, but she ended up consoling her dad, something Charlie Sheen described as a rock star move. However, Sheen's trajectory with his 2015 announcement came with a massive controversy, too. It was alleged that the actor had failed to report his diagnosis to several sexual partners, actively putting them at risk. Many had learned about his condition from the internet, as many of us had. In August 2022, Sheen had to settle with an ex-girlfriend who he knowingly exposed to HIV. As part of the settlement, the wealthy actor had agreed to pay his former flame a sum of $120,000. For the most part, Sheen maintains that he has always disclosed his status to his partners, well before indulging in any sort of intimate relationship with them. Since the series of lawsuits, Sheen hardly talks about his diagnosis in public. However, in 2023, he made a rare exception to talk about his sickness with people. The actor revealed that he has bad and good days, but overall he is thankful to the doctors and health experts who have worked hard to develop the right and effective regimens for HIV. While Sheen is holding on, it is still difficult to live through the public scrutiny he and his family experienced ever since his public admission. For instance, Sheen's former wife, Denise Richards, had become a matter of public interest. Many people had speculated that the actor had contracted HIV from her, which resulted in their very messy divorce. The actor has confirmed that such rumors are, in fact, false and damaging to Denise and the 2 kids he shares with her. Today, Charlie Sheen is one of the few actors in Hollywood who has publicly declared his HIV status. Number 6. Tisha Campbell. Around 2011, Tisha Campbell was doing well for herself on television. Her shows The Protector and the movie Lemonade Mouth didn't come close to the success of Martin, but her career was afloat. Then the American singer and actress was hit with a devastating medical diagnosis that changed her life within seconds. While the actress would feel sick here and there, nothing could have prepared her for what her medical reports said. Tisha Campbell was suffering from sarcoidosis. It is a condition that causes lumps or nodules to form in your lungs, lymph nodes, skin, eyes, and other parts of your body. As a result, her immune system had become so weak that the actress was fearing for her life and career. Her most affected area was her lungs, something that further threatened Campbell's life. Turns out, the actress had been managing her disease since 2001, but had refused to let the public know about her struggles. She shared that she wanted to just live her life like she did prior to learning about her sickness, and focusing on her career was the way to go about it. Back then, Tisha Campbell was trying to find her foot in television after her dramatic exit from the final season of Martin. She had complained about relentless bad working conditions on the show, but it was the 1997 lawsuit that took a toll on her career. Tisha had filed a lawsuit against her co-star Martin Lawrence for harassment on the set of the show. Eventually, the duo would settle outside the court and reconcile. The actress's reputation was down in the mud. She needed to keep working to maintain her career, yet soon enough, the inflammatory disease was taking the best of her. Even the smallest cold would take her to the hospital. Campbell learned about her diagnosis while filming her popular sitcom, My Wife and Kids. There were reports that the actress was getting sick on the set all the time. There were many instances when her assistants had called for medical help, delaying her scenes multiple times. For a long time, Campbell was convinced that she had a really bad cold that wouldn't go away. About this experience, she said, "I had this cold, what I assumed was a cold, for a very long time. I had taken everything over the counter, under the counter, behind the counter, not under the counter, probably did some of that too. I just could not breathe." Her condition had made it very difficult for her to sing on the show. Even today, the actress finds it hard to watch My Wife and Kids because it reminds her of her chronic breathlessness. Despite her dire condition, she carried on. There's one moment in the show that sticks out for her, though. According to Campbell, "It's hard for me to watch this scene. I had to sing Ease On Down the Road. I could see after I finished the song, and you can see it too because it's on television, that I was panicked in my eyes. I can't breathe, but I was continuing on with the scene." Years later, things have hardly changed for the actress. While she is doing better than the early days of her disease, matters like the global pandemic have made her even more anxious about her health. The actress confirmed, "I was so scared to get COVID because I thought, if I get COVID, I'm gonna die. Just every sniffle, allergies, it would build up and I would get sick." Since it is quite easy for her to get sick, the disease has taken an unmatchable toll on her career too. Campbell always has to think twice before doing certain scenes, and if the weather conditions are not agreeable to her, she has to cut her day short. Almost 1 to 8% of sarcoidosis cases are fatal, and Tisha Campbell lives under the delving fear that even a common cold can end her life short. Number 5. Kelty Knight. The Canadian television personality knows how to keep her career fresh and afloat. However, a devastating sickness might force her to go into retirement forever. The 3-time Emmy winner has been rocking the entertainment world for years now, but no one knew that she was suffering in silence. In 2024, Knight revealed that she is taking major steps to combat a serious sickness that has plagued her life and career. In an emotional Instagram video, the news presenter opened up about her struggles with a rare blood disorder called microcytic anemia. As her condition worsens, she is forced to go through a hysterectomy, a surgical procedure to remove her uterus. Knight had to make the terrifying and heartbreaking decision to try to preserve some of her fresh blood that was being lost to microcytic anemia. Explaining her condition, the entertainment news host said, "Basically, it doesn't matter what you do to me, nothing. Nutrition, infusions, hormones, anything. My blood cells are just smaller and there's less of them. And so, I'm feeling awful constantly." She also shared that the disease has taken the best of her social life and career, as she is always fatigued and at times doesn't leave her bed for 16 hours. While she continues to appear in her celebrated show, getting out of bed is increasingly hard for Knight. Yet she refuses to give up. The video essay shared on her Instagram account was nothing short of an emotional roller coaster. Knight talked extensively about believing that her career always seemed like a fluke to her, and now more than ever she feels replaceable. During such hard times, she wants to fight hard to continue doing what she loves, hang out with her friends, and spend some time with her husband, Chris Knight. In order to increase her life expectancy, dire measures like the hysterectomy are important, even if it would leave her childless for the rest of her life. Through it all, Knight wants to continue with her entertainment journalism. At the same time, she has made a point for all women to take their chronic pain seriously, as they are often told to endure it all. She hopes that other women will learn from her story that nothing compares to their good health, not even the chance to start their own family. Number 4. AViL Lavigne. The queen of pop punk needs no introduction. With hits like Complicated, Skater Boy, and Girlfriend still around, you can tell that she is a timeless musician. However, back in 2014, AViL suddenly subsided from her public life, and consequently, her career. The decision was rather odd. Her namesake album was still charting, and she had embarked on a very successful tour. The rumors said that AViL had officially grown tired of her pop star life, but the reality couldn't be more different. Years after her disappearance, the singer revealed that she was bedridden for 2 years as her body experienced extreme fatigue, tiredness, soreness, and chronic pain. Even when the pop star wanted to leave her bed, she couldn't. She had started to feel sick while being on the tour, but the pressure of doing right by the ticket holders forced her to ignore the painful symptoms. Talking about the experience, the musician said, "I had night sweats and I felt like I had the flu. I had blood tests and they didn't really know what was wrong with me. Those were the worst years of my life as I went through both physical and emotional battles." Her doctors scurried to find out what was wrong with her, but eventually, it was AViL herself who figured out the diagnosis. She was convinced that she had Lyme disease, a tick-borne disease caused by species of Borrelia bacteria. Upon contacting a Lyme disease specialist, her fears were proven right. What followed was a grueling journey to get better. Eager to leave the bed, AViL had given it all to get better, but her body often gave up. Her doctors had instructed her to get a lot of bed rest, which forced her to give up on music for a while. However, her health condition also inspired her to get musically versatile as she explored more mature and emotional themes in her music. Her 2019 album, Head Above Water, was inspired by her illness, and in many ways, the record brought comfort to the musician. You see, there have been instances of musicians losing their voice to Lyme disease, the notable example being Shania Twain. AViL had feared the same fate for herself, but thankfully her voice remained intact. Perhaps the hardest battle for the musician was that of public perception. There was a time when the pop-punk star would go hard on stage. All her performances were known to be bold and loud. Yet recovery from a devastating disease has slowed her down. The issue prompted many people to doubt her musical talent and stage presence, which has subsided over time. Since AViL doesn't talk about her hard battles much, many people are still unaware of her chronic illness. As for the musician, well, she feels lucky that she can sing, and that she can sing well. Number 3. Sia. The Australian-born singer is known to be dynamic and bold with her messaging. Her music, including hits like Chandelier and Elastic Heart, urges the listener to keep going even when they feel like all is lost. What you don't know is that Sia's music has been a source of comfort for millions, including herself. In 2019, the singer revealed that her sickness causes her to be in constant chronic pain. You see, the then 43 singer had revealed that she was suffering from a very rare neurological disease, Ehlers-Danlos. It was long speculated that Sia was sick, but no one was able to find the root cause of her illness, until the singer herself made the devastating post on Twitter. She wrote, "Hey, I'm suffering from chronic pain, a neurological disease, Ehlers-Danlos, and I just wanted to say to those of you suffering from pain, whether physical or emotional, I love you. Keep going." The announcement came as a shock to millions of her followers. After all, the syndrome, which causes genetic defects in connective tissue, is very rare, affecting at least 1 in 5,000 people across the globe. The chances of Sia contracting such a disease were slim, but of course, never impossible. It was reported that the Cheap Thrills singer had inherited the disease, but has refused to shed light on her family's medical history. According to Healthline, many people with the condition experience hypermobile joints, loose, stretchy skin, and ongoing fatigue, which makes them more prone to injury and chronic pain. Unfortunately, as the disease is quite rare, medical experts haven't rushed to find a definitive cure. Patients like Sia can manage their pain through certain medicines and physical therapy, but they'll never find the sweet relief. Not to mention, managing the disease is very hard for the singer, who suffers from other life-threatening issues like alcoholism, strong urges to unalive herself, and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Sia has been very vocal about her health issues stemming from her childhood traumas. However, it was her 2023 diagnosis of autism that pushed her over the edge. Her chronic pain was coupled with the extreme emotional distress that came after the failure of her movie, Music. Sia was dragged through the mud for portraying harmful depictions of extreme autism in the movie, which led to her internet cancellation. In response, the singer had issued an apology, which was categorically rejected by many. Since then, Sia has opened up about her severe mental health issues, which were aggravated by Ehlers-Danlos and the severe backlash she experienced in 2021. It would have been quite justified for the artist to step away from the limelight to focus on her mental health, but Sia isn't the one to give up. It has been reported that the Elastic Heart maestro is set to release some new music. She is currently working on an album that would encompass her painful journey of navigating her array of diseases and the backlash she received on her film, Music. Number 2. Michael J. Fox. If Back to the Future was your childhood, chances are that you're a huge fan of Michael J. Fox. The actor was winning multiple popularity contests in the 90s. He was cool, popular among the young audiences, and knew how to deliver his scenes. However, a heartbreaking diagnosis forced him to back up his dreams and subside in the loneliness of his house. In 1991, while filming Doc Hollywood, Fox noticed a weird twitch in his pinky finger. All of a sudden, his shoulder started to get sore too. Initially, he brushed it off as something not too serious, but the constant twitching and unbearable pain forced him to consult a neurologist who revealed something heart-wrenching. The Family Ties actor was diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's disease. He was also told that he would have to stop working eventually. The actor's world came crashing down, largely because the doctors couldn't figure out the root cause of the disease. It was also painful to learn that Parkinson's has no cure, a cause that would become Fox's life in the upcoming years. The diagnosis made the actor quite depressed, and he began to drink quite heavily. He was also plagued by the sadness that he possibly brought the condition to himself. You know, there was a time when Fox would throw a good party, and the tales of his recklessness were quite popular in his youthful days. In 2020, while talking to The Guardian, Fox talked about the craziness of figuring out what went wrong with him. He shared, "I can think of 1,000 possible scenarios. I used to go fishing in a river near paper mills and eat the salmon I caught. I've been to a lot of farms. I smoked a lot of pot in high school when the government was poisoning the crops. But you can drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out." However, while accepting his honorary Oscar 2 years later, Fox admitted that too much partying might have led to his predicament. Today, the actor has become a staunch activist in creating awareness of Parkinson's and possibly funding a cure for the heartbreaking disease. However, it took Fox years to come to terms with his condition. 7 years after his first diagnosis, the actor went public with his diagnosis. At the same time, he had accepted living his life at the expense of medications. Since then, Fox's foundation has raised millions of dollars to rally for those who live with Parkinson's. Abandoning his glamorous life as an actor, Fox has picked a noble trajectory, one that helps him to live through very hard days. While the life of the Back to the Future star has changed immensely, he has continued to defy the odds. Even though he was told that he would have to abandon acting soon after his 1991 diagnosis, he continued to act for a decade or so. This is why Fox's resilience has made rounds in the Parkinson's community. Number 1. Seline Deon. The My Heart Will Go On singer has surprised everyone after delivering a flawless performance at the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. Her appearance in one of the most high-profile sporting events of the world was emotional for many reasons. You see, Seline suffers from stiff person syndrome that almost renders her unable to sing. Yet, defying all odds, she took the biggest stage in the world and sang her heart out. Back in 2022, the singer had revealed that she was diagnosed with the devastating syndrome, a rare neurological disease that causes involuntary spasms and muscle rigidity. In an emotional Instagram post, Seline talked about how spasms affected every aspect of her life, from walking to using her vocal cords. When she learned of her condition, she knew that she would have to stop making music temporarily, and that was the biggest blow in her life. She went on to share, "I'm working hard with my sports medicine therapist every day to build back my strength and my ability to perform. But I have to admit, it's been a struggle. All I know is singing." As of now, Seline is still suffering from the disease that causes untimely seizures. However, she is also learning to live with it. Her documentary, I Am Seline Deon, also offered a rare insight into her extensive physical therapies that sometimes don't end well. Yet the singer believed it was her duty to bring awareness to the rare neurological condition that affects individuals and their family members. Instead of living isolated lives, they can also take the brave step to move forward, just like the singer has. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.